Greetings, everyone. Today we're going to look at another saint, and that is Saint Teresa of Avila. Saint Teresa of Avila was a Carmelite nun. She's very much a favorite of the Carmelite sisters that I go to several times a week in order to say Mass for them, because she's such a great saint and such a wonderful example for us of how to be a follower of Jesus. And because she was such a wonderful saint, there are many wonderful stories that I could tell you about her, but we don't have a lot of time to go into a whole bunch of different stories. There's a story about her when she was very young and she wanted to follow Jesus even as a child, and she wanted to go and give her life for Jesus. So she ran away with her brother in order to do this. Eventually they wound up getting retrieved and brought back home, but just her desire to serve Jesus from a very, very young age. Eventually, she became a nun and she was serving God in the convent. And one of the great things, one of the very important things about St. Teresa for us is not just how she lived her life, but she had a very, very deep life of prayer. She was very, very close to God, very, very close to Jesus in her prayer life. Now, many saints had a deep prayer life like St. Teresa had, but the difference with St. Teresa is she wrote it down. She wrote about it. And she only wrote about it because she was told by her religious superior to write it down. A lot of the saints, or the two saints that we know of particularly, who wrote down about their prayer life, St. Teresa and St. John of the Cross, found it very difficult to describe what they experienced in this life of prayer. But St. Teresa was so filled with God, so filled with the Spirit oftentimes, that she would actually elevate off the floor. She would levitate. Her heart was drawn so much up to God that her body would sort of follow along with this. Sometimes when she would be in prayer in the chapel, she'd actually hook her heels underneath the kneeler in back of her so that she wouldn't come up off the ground, because she didn't want to be a spectacle for other people. Again, St. Teresa teaches us so much about the prayer life and how through prayer we can get close to God. This is available for anybody. Anybody can grow close to God in the prayer life. But the reason that most people don't is because it's a lot of hard work. It's not easy to dedicate yourself to prayer in the way that St. Teresa dedicated herself to prayer. But it's a reminder of what can happen in our life, how we can draw so close to God and we can feel the presence of God in such a powerful way in prayer. And it's really an encouragement for us so that we will always spend time in prayer, that we would try our best to grow closer to God in prayer so that we can have some of the same experiences that St. Teresa did. St. Teresa, I always like to tell the story of how St. Teresa died on the longest night in all of human history. I believe the one night, it was October the 4th, and then the next day was October the 15th, because that's when they changed the calendar. The calendar that they were working from was off a little bit. So she died in the longest night in history. Just a kind of an interesting thing about the life of St. Teresa. But St. Teresa, again, is a great example for us, and we want to imitate her, especially in her prayer.